Imagine cameras poised, microphones ready, and then, without warning, the top cop's testimony cracks open the foundation of power in SA's parliament. We begin by asking, what was revealed that shattered calm and ignited outrage? Today, we take you inside that moment, the dramatic unraveling that followed the fiery words of KwaZulu-Natal's police commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. His testimony exposed deep, systemic rot, allegations of corruption, political interference, procurement manipulation, and the sidelining of capable officers. These were not whispered accusations, but bold declarations that demanded accountability. The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police scrambled to respond. In a rare show of legislative fury, they arranged a special engagement with Mkhwanazi, one meant to unpack every unsettling detail he had brought before the nation, and to send a message that oversight would no longer be passive. To fully grasp why this testimony shook the halls of power, we need to rewind. South Africa's police force has long faced accusations of corruption and factionalism. Over the years, communities have watched as political expediency and patronage undermined law enforcement's credibility. For decades, whistleblowers spoke of a system where promotions were sometimes awarded based on loyalty rather than competence, where procurement deals enriched a few while stations went under-resourced, and where honest officers often found themselves pushed aside. The Madlanga Commission, appointed by President Ramaphosa, was meant to cut through this web. Its hearings formed the backdrop to Mkhwanazi's bombshell. When he stepped forward, he didn't just echo public worry, he armed Parliament with ammunition. We must consider his motivations. Was he driven by duty? By frustration? Was he seeking reform, or was there an element of personal survival against a structure that had failed its own? Whatever the impetus, his words galvanized lawmakers. For the Portfolio Committee to call him back, to elevate his testimony into a parliamentary issue, reflects a shift, one where institutional reform can no longer be deferred. It's also worth noting that this isn't the first time Mkhwanazi's name has been associated with calls for reform. Years back, he had already warned about political interference in the police service. His reputation as a straightforward, sometimes uncompromising officer gave his words additional weight. This time, however, the stakes are far higher because the testimony didn't just implicate internal structures, it suggested that rot reaches the very top, brushing against political powerhouses with influence over the SAPS machinery. We examine the perspectives. Analysts argue this response signals Parliament's renewed role as watchdog, breaking the pattern of deference to the executive. Civil society groups hailed the move, calling on legislators to turn words into tangible reform and to protect whistleblowers within SAPS. Meanwhile, skeptics warned, can parliamentary hearings alone uproot entrenched corruption? Will public hearings translate into real change, or will they become performative theater? On the ground, ordinary South Africans react with a mix of hope and skepticism. Many are weary of commissions, hearings, and inquiries that cost millions yet rarely result in jail time for those implicated. The memory of the Zondo Commission, with its mountain of revelations about state capture, looms large. For some, Mkhwanazi's boldness feels like déjà vu, powerful truths laid bare, but justice slow, uncertain, or absent. For others, his testimony feels like a necessary spark, reminding Parliament and the public that accountability cannot be postponed indefinitely. Politically, the stakes are high. A police commissioner leveling these charges isn't just a procedural event, it's a crisis of legitimacy. It raises urgent questions. Who benefits from the procurement manipulation? Who ordered the sidelines for competent officers? And, crucially, will Parliament act decisively, or merely parse sound bites? We also consider the broader context. Following Mkhwanazi's testimony, the committee's engagement represents both opportunity and risk. If they move swiftly, tabling new legislation or tightening oversight, they might rebuild trust in the system. If they stall, or if the executive side boils the reform down to empty jargon, public confidence could crumble further. Beyond Parliament, there's another factor to watch: morale within the SAPS itself. 4 rank-and-file officers who have long complained of being underfunded, overstretched, and ignored, The testimony validates their struggles. Yet it also creates uncertainty. If the top levels are implicated, what does that mean for their chain of command? Can trust between leadership and officers be repaired, or will internal fractures deepen? As we speak, scheduled follow-up hearings loom, possibly even held in public. The fact that such a forum is being considered speaks volumes. Yet the path forward remains fraught. Reformers view this as a watershed moment. They hope it sparks accountability, strengthens institutional resilience, and sends a message that no one is above scrutiny. Others warn, without structural change, without independence for investigators, without follow-through penalties, the system will revert to business as usual. Looking ahead, several scenarios could unfold. Parliament could lead a reinvigorated battle against police corruption, bolstering oversight, funding ombuds and anti-graft units, protecting whistleblowers, and auditing procurement channels. That would be a landmark victory. Alternatively, political inertia or interference could neuter the momentum. Public hearings with no teeth, committees without enforcement, headlines replaced by headlines. Still another outcome? The Commission's memorial scrutiny could expose new layers of factionalism, drag in national leaders, and put the entire ruling party on a defensive edge. This unfolding drama isn't just about one man's testimony, it's a crossroads for South Africa's governance. Will this moment be remembered as the turning point when Parliament reasserted itself? Or a fleeting episode of outrage, eclipsed by power's return to default? As we wrap up, think of what this means for SA's future. For transparency, for institutional integrity, for the everyday person's faith in law and order. If you're watching this, you understand that governance doesn't happen by inertia. It requires pressure, courage, and accountability. So we ask, do you believe parliamentary follow-up hearings can deliver real reform? Or are we witnessing a momentary blaze that will fade? Let us know what you think. If this deep dive made you think, if you want more context or real-time updates, please make sure to hit subscribe. And drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective on what happens next in this story. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, let's keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep building a better tomorrow together.